Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Savania de Barros.
Hello. I'm Savania de Barros, the protector of athletes and also the founder and principal attorney of the S.L. de Barros Law Firm. I'm so excited today because Mr. John Sovec has come back, and I know you guys have seen him on the podcast before, but I'm still going to reintroduce him just in case you might have missed it. Possibly didn't listen to the entire episode. So I definitely want you guys to be in tune with some of the great stuff that we're going to be talking about today, because we are definitely going to help you manage the holiday stress, or should I say the holiday blues, because some of us could possibly fall into those nuggets. So before we dive into the content, John Sovec is a therapist and coach in private practice in Pasadena, California. He works with clients on career transitions, goal setting, and motivation. He is the clinical consultant for the Life Group LA, adjunct faculty at Phillips Graduate Institute, and he's a guest lecturer at Alliant University and USC School of Social Work. He currently is a member of the California Board of Behavior Sciences. He's also the author of multiple publications, is an internationally recognized speaker, and maintains a private practice. He is a respected trainer and presenter in the corporate, educational, and nonprofit sectors with over 30 years experience, and has designed professional training, models, and seminars for the Walt Disney Company. I mean, all kind of stuff. So in a nutshell, John is the bomb.
I always like it when the intro gets to and all kinds of great stuff, because you're like, yeah.
This is awesome. This is amazing. And so look, before we dive into, I have a very quick announcement for you guys. I have said this in a few different locations. For 2022, I will be launching a new course, Athletes Making Moves course. You guys already know that I am the best-selling author of 2 amazing books. One inspired this podcast, What Are You Sporting About? And the other is Athletes Making Moves, helping athletes to understand who they are, but also build profitable and protectable businesses. So if you want to learn more about that, I'm going to have a banner go across the screen pretty soon. I want you to text me with your name and your phone number, your name and your email address at 773-377-5471 so that you can be notified of when we are launching this course. This is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. All right. So now, without further
I don't get paid for this, but I just want to say, if you have a chance to work with Savania, take it on, people. You will be motivated beyond belief. Trust me on this. Our off-camera conversations are so cool and fun and inspiring. Let her bring that energy into your world. It's pretty stunning.
Oh, thank you so much. And he did not get paid to say that. So just saying. Just saying. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. Now, John, because just even announcing this little piece, it really kind of fits in perfectly with what we were talking about previously about holiday blues. A lot of people, around this time are feeling somewhat, I don't want to use the word magical, but people feel hopeful because it's such a beautiful time of the year. And I'm up north right now, so sometimes, it snows around this time of the year and it's all white and pristine outside, and my yard is open. We don't have a fence, so we can see the deer come walking through and everything. But there is a type of pressure that come along with the holiday, whether you're a business owner, you're just a parent, maybe you are a seasonal employee, right? How do we balance this time of the year with what we want to do personally, but what we also have to do?
Well, I think there's a real interesting thing that happens during this time of year. We have the collision of multiple holidays from like multiple belief systems. And then what that's done over time is just created this huge like marketing push to make this quote unquote perfect holiday, to do the Hallmark movie version of, having 10,000 twinkle lights in your tree in your front yard. Well, the truth of the matter is most of us have the energy to put up maybe 3 strands of light a year, not the 10,000 lights that they do. But we start feeling this pressure that we're not giving enough, we're underperforming, we're not living up to this story of what the holidays are supposed to be like. And I think that right there puts so much pressure on people. And that's where anxiety starts showing up. And when that anxiety shows up, then that can lead to some hopelessness, some depression, or as you say, those holiday blues. I'm not doing it right. And here's what I want us to, if you take nothing away from this conversation except for this idea, there's no way to do the holidays right except the way that's right for you.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Okay, so I don't want to like put all of this on Front Street. I don't think my friend would be upset if I talked about this, but have a close friend who, their house and stuff was caught on fire, and they were out celebrating one of their other children. No one was home, thank God, so nothing happened to them. But they were able to move into another home while they wait to revamp that house. And they started making that house feel like a home and putting up the Christmas lights and decorations and whatnot. But one of the things I said to this friend, I said, this is a perfect opportunity to have a deeper discussion with your kids about the meaning of Christmas, right? The meaning of togetherness, being grateful and gratitude. And I think you and I talked about gratitude before the last time you were on here, because we can look at all the things and all the sales and all the hype about what we supposed to be doing technically for the holiday. But when we boil it all down, the only thing that matters is us, what feels good to us, that we have each other, right? And so going back to what you just said, what works is what works for you. Do what you need to do for you. It doesn't matter about all the other things that, how people have created this hype around the holidays that you got to buy the biggest and best gifts. You got to go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm gonna tell you right now, my 4-year-old is not getting thousands and thousands of presents.
Well, the other thing that I think is important too that we've lost over time is if you think of all the major holidays right now, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, all of them are holidays based on the idea of light.
Yes.
And we're in the middle of winter, this time when the days are at their shortest, the nights are long and cold. And what is the actual emphasis of this time? To gather in places of light, to see the light in each other, to have candles going, to have a fire in the fireplace, to come together as the coldness and the darkness are around us. And I think people have lost that part of the understanding that it is that space of finding the light, once again, whether it's outside or inside, as a way to inspire you moving forward. And I think if people can grasp onto that tiny concept, you can have huge changes happen in your experience of the holidays.
That's deep. That's deep. It takes me back to a conversation I literally just had yesterday with an aunt, because these last 2 years have been incredibly difficult. A lot of people don't know about all my personal businesses. I don't put it out there like that, but this past end of October going into November, I lost my very last grandparent. And it's something about death that can change people, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, sometimes just completely indifferent, right? But it has given me such a new and profound perspective on light. And in a way, I kind of feel like that has given me a light, because when you recognize that we are not invincible, something is going to end at some point. It's okay to live in that moment respectively, but also be on a journey to find the light in everything, find the goodness in everything. Always understand the why and the purpose behind what you're doing, because your days are numbered. We don't know when it is, And so I think around this holiday, I'm definitely going to implement a new type of tradition now around what is the light. Let's find our light together. Let's talk about what have been lit moments. What have been lit moments in our lives, because I also feel like it would take us back to a level of gratitude. And we all know that beautiful things happen when you are grateful for what you do have. And some of us, all we have is life, but really that's everything.
It's more than enough. And
Yes.
that's the thing, is we get 10,000 emails in our inbox telling us we have to buy the latest and greatest, because it's trying to make us doubt that very belief in ourselves and what we offer to the world. Well, I thought I was enough, but I don't have that thing. So I need to buy that thing so I can be the prettiest and the thinnest and the proudest and the strongest. And I think the idea here is like looking for the light. Sometimes it's just as simple as talking to someone and seeing that little bit of light in their eye as you're talking to them. Or one gift that you have chosen specifically for that person that you know has meaning to both of you, and handing that to them and seeing that exchange of light that happens there, rather than flooding the tree with like 10,000 gifts that after the third one have no meaning anymore.
Deep. Because I'm gonna tell you, with losing amazing people, you can tell who is the glue in your family when they leave this earth, because no one else possessed the light that they had or that they have. We talked about before vampire suckers, people who steal your light away. How do we protect ourselves from those kind of people during the holidays?
So you're right. There are people who are going to want to steal your joy of the holidays. And what we need to learn to do both during the holidays and in life is how to set boundaries and mean them. I always relate this to kind of animal training, dog training, especially. I'm a total dog person. But if you get a new dog and you let it into your house and you just take the leash off and let it run everywhere and do whatever it wants, pretty soon you'll have a dog that's peeing everywhere, tearing stuff up, and is really anxious, and you're anxious too. But if you bring that dog in and you set a certain set of parameters, this is your bed, we take a walk at this time, I will feed you at this time, no, you can't go on the sofa, actually the dog will relax and become much more connected to its space, and you'll be relaxed too. So the idea of setting boundaries, because most people are freaked out by the idea of setting boundaries, the idea of setting boundaries actually relaxes everyone who's participating in that moment. So what does that mean during the holidays? Well, it means that you could say, I want to go, there are 3 parties tonight, but I'm only going to go to one. So my boundary is I'm going to have to tell those other people that I cannot make it. And we don't need to make excuses. We don't need to, put on a song and dance routine. What we can actually do is say, thank you so much for your invitation, but I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. So we set boundaries, and that boundary setting helps us to feel more comfortable with the things we choose to do. It lifts our energy, and it brings a lot more joy to this time of year.
Yeah, I like that, because I think too, it depends on who people are setting boundaries on, because family can be very hard when things have been done a certain way. And especially if, let's just call the hierarchy what it is, right? Your parents and your parents are like, but I'm your mom, I'm your dad. But it's also a self-love, a self-preservation type of issue. And it doesn't mean that your love minimizes because you have to put boundaries in place. It's just that I need to protect me. I need to protect my space. I need to protect my spirit. And so I also believe that at times people are also uncomfortable putting boundaries on themselves. Because it's a different feeling. It's weird. You have the obligation to tell folk, like you really have to reset the stage. I've heard this one saying forever. People treat you how does it go? Oh my gosh. People do what you allow them to do.
Yeah, people treat you the way you teach them to treat you.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes. And part of that is failing to have boundaries, and not just on the other side, but on yourself, right? So if you know that things have not been working for you, or if this time of year, the last few years, you have just been chaotic, extremely stressed out, what was that? Do we need to put a boundary on our spending? What is the time limit that you're going to cut off? If you're a business owner, we kind of talked about this off camera. A lot of businesses have a ton of sales around this time of the year. It might be good for you because if you do have a business, you can deduct the stuff from your, business tax for your tax season and stuff like that. But, but what if you just don't have any more money? Are you going to go into debt to try and bring in a new service that you cannot afford? Are you going to go into debt by buying the latest and biggest tech or gift for your kids that you cannot afford? And then the next year you're working, you can't even live a fruitful life with self-care involved because you're so busy trying to work to pay that stuff off. So we know what our conduct is. Let's do a rewind of what it has been the last few years. Where do we need to put the boundaries in place for ourselves? And then it will make it a lot easier to tell folks, okay, this is what I can and cannot do.
Well, and the other thing too that falls into place, it used to be that post-holiday, most people would need January and February to pay off their bills and come back into alignment again. Nowadays, when they look at it, it takes people 6 to 7 months to pay off their holiday experiences. So think about, you're spending half the year to pay off this stuff rather than setting a boundary and being aware of, what do I choose? What do I choose to bring in? What do I choose to do? Rather than this landslide, this energy that overtakes us that we have to take on or do everything. One of the things that I've learned as a small business owner is sometimes I have to actually do less to accomplish more. That if I try and take on like 7 projects at once, none of them are really going to succeed. But if I bring that down to the 3 that are the meatiest and most delicious for me, and I concentrate on them and growing them and building them and letting my creative energy go towards them, that's usually when I have the most success. Now, it doesn't mean the other 4 get thrown away. You write them down, you put them on the back burner, you keep a file on the computer. It's like, oh, I just read another article. Let me drop it in there because that's going to inspire me for a future. As business owners, I think it's so important to think long term. And that's where the boundary setting comes into play, because you don't have to do everything right now. You can take on, power up for the things that have meaning for you, but keep track of those other dreams, ideas, products for the future. There's room, there's space for that.
There is. That's beautiful. And a viewer from LinkedIn says, beautiful and valuable conversation here. Thank you, Savannah Barrows and John Sovec. Therapy. Thank you, Samay. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Thank you for being here, because too often we leave this conversation, on the table or off the table, really. And we really need to start discussing these issues a lot more and a lot sooner, because boundary issues, I also feel like it could seep into a level of lack of confidence around your own decision making, that kind of peer pressure around the holiday. And so it's okay for people to say no. And sometimes you do have to say no to yourself. You know what your limits are. And like John just said, you don't have to throw away your ideas. One thing I did last night was I cataloged all of my intellectual property, things that have already been created, things that I want to create, right? And a description of what they're going to be. So it's something I can't necessarily get to right now, but it's in the works, right? It's still in my mind. It's on the table. We're going to get to it. But if you really want to create something that's beautiful and profitable, think about these holidays. And instead of here's a great example, because I just did this last night. I registered 13 works for copyright registration. I said, Merry Christmas, Savannah Barrows, because I'm giving myself the gift of protection. Okay. And I'm probably going to go on and register a few things for a trademark. Right. And so we know the more intellectual property you create, the more expensive it becomes, because you have to protect each piece of it. So instead of you spending a ton of money on a program or a product that you don't need, or that you're really not going to put your time into to really see how it's supposed to work for you, go and invest in something you've already created or that you want to create, right?
And I think also bringing it back to kind of like this holiday piece as well, too. Do the same with how you interact with people during the holidays. Interact and connect with those people who are going to bring you joy, love, energy, power. Okay. Let those people inspire you just as you inspire them. When it comes to gift giving, use that same filter to say, like, I heard you say this thing back in August that you really like this one thing, and I have found this one thing for you. Versus, and I used to do this, I was so guilty of it. 3 days before Christmas, going to the mall and just buying whatever got in your eye line. Okay. Or going on Amazon and just going through, it's like, oh, they're suggesting this, they're suggesting that. That must be what my friends want, and buying it. No, personalize the experience more. For maybe every person who's on your gift list, think of them as your intellectual property.
Yes.
What would bring them joy? One thing. You know, last year for his birthday, I got my husband a turntable. We have had all these records that we actually had from when we were younger that were in storage, and we brought them home. And it was just like, well, what do we do with this? We have now turned into these people who love listening to records all the time. And I know, he better not be listening right now. I know the perfect gift to give him for Christmas, and it is a certain recording that was really hard to find. But it doesn't have to be every record that's showing up. It's that one recording that's going to have so much meaning to him. And that's what's in how we kind of intellectually property trademark our experiences with the people we're interacting with too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I did something similar, not in terms of the record table, but one of my former clients, shout out to Mimi Bosica. She owns co-owner of Delos Therapy. If you guys have heard about it, amazing work they do over there. Jesus, best massage in your life. Okay. But they opened up a new location, and she gifted her space to me to record and do my book launch for Athletes Making Moves. And so instead of going and just buying this pre-made basket, this gift basket, I made my own gift basket, but it was a backpack. It was one of our products, and I stuffed it with some of our other products. Like, I gave her 2 versions of the book. I went and got her some beautiful oh my gosh, what do you call the truffle chocolate candy? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, you got one for her and one for yourself, and let's not go
right. Yes. It was, I can't remember what all I put in this backpack, and then I shipped it off to her, because I want you to know that your time and your space meant so much to me, and she didn't ask me for anything for it. You know, just want to be supportive. Another female in sport, wanted to be supportive of my vision and what I had going on. And I think that when you show folks how much you really appreciate them through what your gift is, and even if you don't have a lot, like if you don't have money to go and buy something, the mere fact that you created something means a lot. Because I love those personal touches. You can make me a card, and it's like you created the card. I'm amazed at that. I love that kind of stuff, you know? So,
well, and I know from our previous discussions, you have people that you work with who are all levels of developing their business. I want to give all of you my Christmas gift to your listeners right now is the number one thing that I learned early on in my business that has made a huge difference. So when I started out, the idea of giving gifts to other businesses was really off the radar for my expenses. But what I learned from a friend of mine who's a realtor, and if you ever want to learn marketing 101, hang out with a realtor. They will teach you how to do it. Okay. Her thing is she sent handwritten notes to everyone, thanking them for things they had done. And I started this practice. Now, remember, we live in a world where you text, you email, everything's like on Slack, everything's fast and in the moment. When you take the time to send someone a handwritten card, thanking them for something, or maybe a handwritten holiday card that says, just thinking of this time of year and all the wonderful stuff you've helped me with this year, that handwritten note will stand out and take a place in that person's heart that you gave it to and create a lifelong connection. So Christmas gift to y'all, you can have no money at all, but if you send a handwritten note thanking someone for something they've helped you with, you will go far.
And John, you know, that is definitely my MO. Recently we had a NAACP awardee on, sent her a handwritten note. I was on CBS here in Chicago with Adrena Bigos. And at the time of filming with her, we were talking about lipstick. So I sent her a handwritten note, but I also purchased 2 separate lipsticks for her that I felt like would be beautiful for her complexion. And she got the note and she got the lipstick and she Facebooked it and was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I love thoughtful things, right? And so when you just take a few moments to be thoughtful, but also thankful, because these people don't have to give you their time. And we know how precious time is. Like, we're just talking about losing people over the last few years. Time is a commodity that you will never get back. And so when people gift you their time, it only takes a little bit just to write a message saying thank you. I want to, Samay made a comment, said that you are both right on the mark. Mental health sport is a virtually untapped market. And how badly is this needed? The 3 of us know, and some smart cookies out there wish I could spend more time with you. Aw, that's awesome. Yeah. So I hope you guys have definitely learned some things that you can do differently for the holiday, not getting caught up into that whole gift rushing. I mean, if look, I don't want to tell people how to spend their holiday, but if it's something that stresses you out and causes you to be in the hole for the following year, maybe that's something you need to do differently, right? So like John said, make sure that you set boundaries. Tell people what they mean to you and how thankful you are for them. Don't worry about having a ton of money to try to buy gifts for folk. Guess what? Go to Vistaprint, order you some cards, put your picture on it, and write some notes to these folks that have inspired you, who have supported you over the last year. That means a lot. And I'm going to tell you, for me, if I was to get a gift like that, that means more to me than getting money in the mail or some kind of gift that I'm probably just going to put it on the shelf. So,
yep. Yeah, those personal connections are what matter, not just in business, but also in our family and our friends. Take it away from the anonymous, make it personal. And the thing is the personal is actually a lesser investment of time in a weird way, because like with this woman that you met, you were just chatting, the lipstick thing, all your brain said was, ooh, lipstick. Okay. And you put this thing together and all of a sudden you've created a connection that's much more deeper than if you had sent her just the anonymous Starbucks card.
Right.
You know? And those little moments are what count. And it counts not just in business, but with each and every person that we have in our life that we love and care for.
Absolutely. Well, John, where can people go to follow you? I know I saw you somewhere else talking about the holiday blues. So I definitely want folks to stay connected with you during this time, to be inspired and motivated, and just, really be able to latch on to some of these nuggets, because this can be an issue around, like Samay said, like a mental health crisis, people putting way too much pressure on themselves than what they should be doing. And so we want to encourage them to say no. And sometimes that means saying no to yourselves. So where can they go?
So best places to find me are my website, which is johnsovec.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at John Sovec Therapy and on Twitter at John Sovec. And the thing is, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, curiosities. I'm more than happy to chat with you and kind of like help you through this process too.
Awesome. Well, as always, it is a pleasure, guys. Look, make sure, because when I say I'm launching this course in 2022, I'm making it real. And sometimes if we don't give ourselves a deadline, we won't do it. So I am launching Athletes Making Moves course in 2022. I don't know the exact date yet, but it's going to be coming. So if you want this information, if you want to get in early, definitely text your name and your email to 773-377-5471. That is 773-377-5471. And make sure that you go and follow John Sovec. John Sovec Therapy. I think you said what? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at John Sovec. And go to his website, johnsovec.com. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Always a pleasure, John.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Ciao.
Thanks for joining us this week on What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Savania DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success, because we're all sporting about something.